Day 20. Reading. The Princess and the Ugly Dwarf. Part 3. How can I leave you here in the forest to fend for yourself? A husband needs his wife in tough times. I am going to stay with you through hunger, thirst, worry, and work. I will share everything, the good and the bad. Null fell silent. After walking some more, the couple decided to rest under the shade of a tree, and the tried Damayanti soon fell asleep. Nal was overwhelmed with grief. He remembered how his wife had rejected 4 gods and married him instead, and now he had brought his wife to such a pitiable state. He was restless. He thought, if I take her with me, who knows where this might end? She may suffer even more, and I won't be able to see her in that situation. This is not her fault. She doesn't deserve this. My best option is to leave her here at this juncture to Vidarbha and go my own way. If she doesn't find me when she wakes up, she will have no choice but to go to her parents. With a heavy heart, Nal left his beautiful wife sleeping under the tree and quickly walked away. When Damayanti woke up, Nal was nowhere to be found. She searched for him and eventually realized what he had done. She cried and sobbed, walking deeper into the forest in the hope of finding him. Suddenly, a python lunged at her and began to wrap himself around her. Desperate, Damayanti cried out for help. As luck would have it, a group of hunters nearby heard her cries and rescued her from the python. Later, she narrated a story to the hunters, hoping that they would understand her plight. To her dismay, the head of the hunters fell in love with her because of her ravishing beauty. She prayed in earnest, "O God, if the love for my husband is true, allow me to curse this man who stands before me. Let him be burnt alive. With those words, the head of the hunter suddenly caught fire and died. The other hunter, who was witness to the incident, sprinted away. Aimlessly, Damayanti resumed wandering through the forest and lost track of time. One day, she encountered a caravan crossing the forest. A caravan stopped and a man asked, "A noble lady, are you all right? What are you doing here in the forest?" Damayanti did not respond. The man said, "This forest is full of beasts and serpents. Our group is heading to the Chedi kingdom. Come with us and we will find something for you to do there." Without uttering a word, Damayanti boarded the caravan and journeyed forward with the group. Through the day passed, she did not reveal to them her status of a queen or talk about a husband who had gambled everything away. One fateful night, the group pitched their tents near a lake. A few hours later, elephants and wild beasts come on a rampage, destroying the tents and killing many people. Damayanti was one of the few survivors. She was now in complete shock. It seemed to her that a series of misfortunes was striking her and the people around her in quick succession. "Perhaps I am being punished for not listening to the gods," she thought. As if to evidence her opinion, some people in the group began referring to her as a bad omen. Yet they took her along with them in a caravan up to the city of Chedi. In the capital city, she was introduced the queen mother of the kingdom as a lady in distress. The queen mother was kind to her. "What work can you do?" she asked. "I can be a lady in waiting to the princess, or or Sayadri, played Damayanti. The queen mother nodded, and Damayanti was finally able to find a temporary home. Time went by, and Damayanti continued to pray to the gods. She knew that her parents would take care of her children, but she was constantly worried about her husband. Meanwhile, Nal was facing challenges of his own after leaving Damayanti sleeping under the tree. He had wandered into another forest where he ran into a serpent with a circle of fire around him. Nal heard a cry. The serpent looked at him and said, "My name is Karkotka. I am stuck here inside this circle of fire. Please help me out." Nal, being compassionate, rushed to help. He carried Karkotka on his shoulders and brought him out of the circle of fire. Suddenly, Karkota beat him, and Nal was immediately transformed into an ugly creature the size of a dwarf. He became upset. "What have you done to me? How can you do this to anyone who has helped you in a difficult situation? You are a wretch and ungrateful being." "Please don't curse me just because I have beaten you and made you ugly," said the serpent. "I have done this on purpose. You are in miserable condition in this way. No one will recognize you. Don't worry. You will have the power to transform back to your original form at some point." Nal kept mum. Perhaps there is some truth to Karkotka's word. Who knows what the future will bring, he thought. The two parts ways, and Nal took the road to Ayodhya. There Rituparna was ruling the kingdom. There is a place known as Karkota Hill near Bhimtal in the state of Uttarakhand, with a serpent or Nag temple located atop it. It is believed to be the place where Karkotka met Nal and beat him in order to help him pass through that difficult period in his time. This holy temple is frequented by pilgrims who believe worships the deity of Karkota helps obtain protection from serpents. Nal changed his name to Bahuka and went to the court of the pious Rituparna. "My name is Bahuka, sir," said Nal. "I am an expert cook and can make the most delicious food you in the shortened amount of time." Nal was able to do so because cooking requires fire, wind, and water, and knew he had the blessing of Agni, Vayu, and Varun. Rituparna tested Nal's cooking and found him to be true to his word. So Nal was employed as the head chef in Rituparna's royal kitchen. Thus Damayanti and Nal lived separately, not knowing each other's whereabouts. Meanwhile, Damayanti's parents were getting increasingly worried about their daughter with each passing day. They knew that Nal had lost his kingdom and that the couple were now in exile. Since they had not received any news from Damayanti, they sent messengers and soldiers to search for her. They even announced a reward for whoever gave valuable